Well, alrighty. So you can see there was some progress that happened on the pointillism value that I did. So if you look at the value scale, these two value scales, I'm attempting to try to match the intensity that I see in both of these. And it did take a lot of layering. Same with this one and this one. Now this one confession that I have is that this one did get a little bit too dark compared to this one. And so what I did is I took my eraser and I just sort of touched it on there. I'm not rubbing it, but I'm blotting on there. So, you know, if anytime, like even if you're going like this on this little area, this is supposed to actually match this right here. And I suppose I'm gonna have to add a little bit more value to it. But even on those things, if that gets too dark, or you know, if this gets too dark, you can always blot with that. So what I did is I pretty much completed most of this. I could add just a little bit more to this as I go, but just to give you a general idea, you take this value, you try to match this with this, you take this, you try to match this with this, you take that, you try to match that with that. So I'm in the process of doing that. So I'm using my 2H pencil, which is my lightest, to complete this little section here, and try to press down rather light on this section, because a lot of times when you make the little dots, it's going to come out a little bit darker than you anticipated as you were going there. So, and you can continue on down. And also, if you wanted to add just a few little dots in the little white section, like especially as it transitions, if you don't feel like that's a good transition between this and white, you certainly can. I added a little bit, you know, little bit of dots right here, and I didn't add any as you come up here, so it just depends on what you want to do here. The main thing is that your sections are consistent and the value matches throughout. Okay, and so what I'll do here is I'm adding my 2B in this little section. So this is my mid-range section. And the main thing, you just want differences between your sections. And if you don't see any differences, you're going to either need to take an eraser like on this section and lighten things up, or you're just going to need to add more dots and just make sure that your lead choices are correct for each section. I caught myself using a 6B over here initially. I said, oh my gosh. So just double check your pencil lead and all that. And you know, as you're going, as you're adding dots, not only add dots to your edges, just make sure the center part, like if you got big holes or gaps in your dotted section, just go back and fill in. You just, like I said, you just want visually things to look even and neat in each section as you go. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm adding my 6B right here. And you're probably wondering, well, you may not be wondering, but you may be wondering later on about the top of this thing. Like, what do you do to this top? And we are going to do a little something to the top of this thing just to give it some believability there. And I may add a little bit more as I go later on, but for time purposes, I think this is fine. So the next thing I'm going to do, even when you start and you want to make something relatively dark, you're still starting with your lightest grade of lead. Now, right here, this is not going to be too terribly dark, but I'm going to create just this little bitty cast shadow. So if you had light and it was coming from right here, you'd have like a little bit of a shadow from that corner right here that will cast over here at the top. You wouldn't have a shadow on the top on this side. So I'm just gonna create just a little something there and fade it out. So I'm going lighter and lighter and lighter as I move out, and I do more in this little corner right here. So finally, with this particular section, your cast shadow, you can see it's very similar in nature. Yugo is going to be darker here, and then it's going to fade out. So this is darker here, then it fades out. But the rule here, as you go with value, you're still going to start off with your 2H right here. You'll just make your dots closer together. The reason why you start with a lighter grade of pencil is so that your drawings will not get too dark too quickly, and you'll have that that range of depth that occurs. So you'll see like values under values. You'll see the kind of transparent nature of values, so that things won't look flat. I think that's the main thing for you guys to understand. Okay, so 2H and then 2B. So just keep in mind the dots are closer together near the object because your value is darker there, and then you just kind of let up a little bit and make them further apart as you go out towards away from the object there. And then we're going to add our 6B right here. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to match this right here, and then we're trying to be consistent and match this. So you're comparing these to each other as you go. So yes, the value that's smooth and pointillism and crosshatch, they are different units, but at the same time, they need to be unified and look like they balance each other out. And look at like almost like a whole, this is like a whole composition right here, although there are different things going on here. Keep in mind too, you've got white, a little white ring that is left on the base for your reflection. And you could continue on as you go, but I think for demonstration purposes, hopefully y'all are kind of getting the concept behind this particular one. So the next thing that you guys are going to be doing is a crosshatch type thing. And you may have done crosshatching in the past. It's kind of like making a tic-tac-toe board. You're going horizontally and vertically here, and you can kind of see that with this cone right there. So I may have to do another video, I know I will, with the crosshatch, just because it may end up taking a little bit of time. But anyway, so what it is technically is the practice of adding lines that intersect to a surface when making value, and from a distance they blend together just like pointillism there. So you're going to be using graphite with yours, and the main thing is just to make sure that your lines intersect. In general, these are going to be relatively tight drawings. There have been crosshatch things that have been more expressive and that sort of thing, but when you're learning how to do it, this is a good way. And this is actually a great little diagram that shows you guys how to do this on a curved surface. So it's kind of similar to what we're doing, but like I said, it's not exactly the same shape there. So anyway, so what I will do, because we're reaching the 8-minute mark here on this video, what I'm going to do is I'll do a little bit for you guys, and then I'll show you the video with the final process of this. So watch the next one, okay? Thanks.